Welcome back. So this is the continuation of my previous previous video. So if you want to go and check like what is a cloud service, so you can just go into this URL, http://service.cloudapp.net/home/upload. Okay, so you can go in and see the service that is already running. You can see how we can upload a service. So the same demo we will be going through the entire video. Okay, so first of all we have to know how to create a storage account. So once you have a storage account, then you can save all your data inside your storage account. So we are going to create a storage account. For that, go into your Windows Azure portal. Under the Windows Azure portal you have storage. Click on storage and then you can create a new account here. So if you are doing for the first time, so if you click here you will have an option right away, create a new storage account. But I've already done that, so I already have here a few storage accounts, 2 storage accounts here. So I can just go for new and then I can go for storage and then I will go for quick create. Okay, so now I will be giving a URL. So URL for my storage account, I can just give it as Darni demo storage. Hopefully it's not already been taken. So if your URL ID is not been taken already, then you will just get a tick sign here like how I get it. Otherwise you will get into sign, so maybe you have to go for another naming. Okay, and then you can choose the location where you want your account to be. So either you want it in North Europe, West Europe, East US, so on. Okay, so these are the data centers. Okay, so I will choose the data center as Southeast Asia. Now you have another option, it's called as replication. So under replication you have 3 types. One is locally geo redundant, and this is under preview. Soon we will be having that option as well. But if you're going for geo redundant is what is default. In case of any failure in the data center, then they will set your services in a backup. But if you set it as locally redundant, then now if in case of failure, if you have chosen geo redundant and if there is a failure in the data center, then in your data store server, then they will shift the data into another data center. Now that data center will not be known to you. Okay, but if you have some company policies, enterprise policies that do not allow you to transfer your data to a different data center, then you can just go for locally redundant. Okay, now the charges is different if you're going for geo redundant and locally redundant. So I just make it simple here. I just go for geo redundant and then I click on create storage account. Tick on create storage account, and here we go. My Darni demo storage is getting created. It will take 1 or 2 minutes for it to get created. So once it has been created, then I can start using my Darni demo storage. So by the time we will go to our other slides, so I have created, so this is what I said. If you're doing it for the first time, you will just have the option of create a storage account and just click on it. If you're doing for the second or third time, then you select here and there will be a plus sign with new there. Okay, so just check that and then select that, and then you can create your account. Okay, so this is what we already saw. So if you're creating an account, you just give your URL, then affinity or location group is where your data center, you're selecting your data center, and the replication in case of any failure. So after creating a storage account, what you have, okay, so you have all these things because we are creating a Windows Azure storage account. So when you're creating a Windows Azure storage account, you will have what we call it as endpoints. So endpoints for a storage account represent the highest level of the namespace for accessing a blob, table, or a queue. So if somebody wants, once you have created a storage account, if they want to access your blob or a table or a queue through coding, then you have to go through these endpoints. So these endpoints are automatically been created. It follows the HTTP, your account, followed by container, followed by your image or video. So similarly here you have table and queue services as well. So this is what I get once I finish my creating my WA Darni storage account. So I had 3 endpoints which is automatically generated. Here I have the endpoint for blob, endpoint for table, and endpoint for queues. So we will go again to our portal and see if it is created, if it is completed. Yeah, it's completed. So my Darni demo storage is completed, and then I will go ahead and see what is there for me. Yes, I have 3 endpoints there. One is blob, tables, and queues. So if I have to go and access my images, then I will go through this blob endpoint. If I have to go and access my tables inside my Windows Azure, I will go through this endpoint, and to access my queues, I will go through this endpoint. Okay. So now we will again go for the development. So I think you should be very clear about what are endpoints. Now how we are going to store your data inside your blob. So the first Windows Azure storage option, we will take it as blob. So we are going to see in detail about blobs here. So how we are going to store your data inside blob. Okay, so if you want to store any blob, then you have to create a container, and within the container you will place all your blob. Okay, so I have an account. My account has 2 containers. You can have any number of containers, but remember, one account cannot have more than 200 terabytes, but you can have any number of containers, or just stop with one container. Okay, depending upon your requirement, application requirement, you can create any number of containers. So what I'm doing here is I'm going and accessing my WA Darni storage account. If you are going to take this current demo, then my account name will be Darni, just forgot about this. Yeah, Darni demo storage. So this will be my account name. So my account name will be Darni demo storage here, and I will create 2 containers. One is picture container and movie container. You can have any number of containers, and then once you create your container, you can place all your images in that respective container. Now if once I have done all this, now how I'm going to access my image 1 or image 2 or my movie. Okay, this is how you will access it. The syntax or the URL syntax will be your HTTP with the account. Okay, so this will be storage account dot blob code. So this is what we saw as an endpoint, right? So this will be for your blob. If you're going to be tables, it will be the table endpoint. So this is my entire endpoint / your container. So if I'm going to access image 002, it will be /pictures /image 002.jpg. So here I have one example. So my endpoint, my blob endpoint /movies is the container /mov1.avi. So this is how I can access this movie1.avi inside my blob storage. Okay, so how I'm going to do this through my coding, how to do a blob storage and how to access your blob storage inside your Windows Azure, how you're going to do that. Okay, you can do it in two ways, either by REST APIs or storage client APIs. So storage client APIs, you can download it through your your Visual Studio, and then once you download your storage client APIs, and you can start creating applications. And with the storage format, you can use the blob storage or table or your a queue storage. Okay, so to get started with application development, what are the things that I need? The first one is I have to install my Microsoft.Windows Azure.Storage DLL. So how I'm going to do that? So I will open my Visual Studio. So one thing you have to remember, when you are creating your Windows Azure application, you test it. It has to be in the elevated mode, that is the administrator permission, administrator mode. So I will just go for File, Open. I already have a project here. Okay, and then demo code, blob storage. Okay, I will go for this one. Blob storage demo here. Okay, so here I have my application. So before we do anything, we can test your application. So I have a MVC application called as WebRoll1, and I have one blob storage demo Windows Azure WebRoll, okay, which is linked to my MVC application here. Okay, so before I do anything, I will just run this application and see if my application is working. So if you want to know more about how to create an application from scratch, okay, so I will you can go through my blog, darnygrace.wordpress.com. so there I have defined about how to start a Windows Azure application. So here I have my application running, and who's responsible for running my application? So here I have compute emulator and storage emulator, which is started. Okay, so what is basically a storage emulator? So every time when you want to test your application, you don't want to deploy it inside, or you don't want to use the Windows Azure storage account, rather you want to test it and see whether it is working perfectly inside your on-premise storage itself. So for that you have what we call it as a storage emulator, but the capacity of the storage emulator is restricted. Okay, it's not like 200 terabytes, but still you can just test it for small applications, and then you can deploy it in the Windows Azure storage itself. Okay, so my application is running perfectly. I don't have any errors here. So once I see that I don't have any errors, then I have to use my storage account. So to use a storage account, you need the first thing, which is your Windows Azure storage DLL. Okay, so to install your storage DLL, you can go for the manage new get packages solutions. So under installed online, it's getting some time for me. So you can search for Windows Azure, because Azure, yeah. Okay, so the first thing what you have to do is you have to install the DLLs. Okay, so you can install the Windows Azure client libraries for working with Azure storage services, including blob and table. So you can install them and then start working. So once you have installed that, then what I will be doing is we have to use those references. So under references, you have to use the three main references, which is the storage service runtime and storage client references. So here inside my home controller dot, can you see I have three references. One is a Windows Azure.storage.blob, Windows Azure.storage, and Windows Azure.service runtime. So these are the three main references that you need when you are creating blobs and using blobs for storing your data. So having known what we have to install, the next step is connection string. Okay, so if you want to store any data inside your SQL server, what you need is a connection string. Okay, so similarly, if you want to store any data inside your Windows Azure storage account, you need a connection string. So what is the schema of the connection string? You have to define the protocol, whether you are using a HTTP or a HTTPS protocol, and then your account name, which we already have created, and followed by the account key. So where can I get the account key and account name? Is again inside your I think I've closed it by mistake, so I'll just go to Windows. So to have a connection string, if you want to store any data inside your Windows Azure storage account, like a blob or into a table, you need a connection string. So your connection string has 3 parameters, which is very important. The first one is your protocol, what protocol you're going to use, and the second one is your account name, and the third one is your key. Okay, so say we are going to use this Darni demo storage, which just now we created. So if I'm going to use the Darni demo storage, select Darni demo storage, and can you see here manage access key? Click on manage access key. So what is your account name? It's Darni demo storage. What is your primary access key? It is this. You can also give a secondary access key. If you are not very comfortable with this key, you can generate a new key as well. Okay, so inside your application, under your connection string options, you will be giving the values. So your protocol will be HTTPS, and account name will be Darni demo service, and account key is what I showed you now. So the account key, you just copy and paste it here. Now what you can do is, you don't have to type all this. You can take the help of Visual Studio if you are going to create a connection string, which I will show to you later in my upcoming demos. And the third one and the next one, what I already showed you, you have to refer to all the DLL, all your class files, okay, all your DLL files, using the using statement. So using Microsoft.Windows Azure Storage, storage.authenticated, and blob is the required namespaces for accessing your Windows Azure blob storage. Okay, so we have done all the necessary things. We have installed the Windows Azure Storage DLL. We know we have to have a connection string created, and then we have referred our application to the class files or the packages by using the using statement. Now what I will do is, I have to create a container. Why I need a container? Now, as I said here in my previous slide, if I want to play some image or play a movie, any of these blobs, then I need a container. So first I have to create a container in my application, and then once I create a container, then I can place all my images inside my container. So how I'm going to create a container is like this. Okay, so first you have to go for getting your create instance for your storage account, and using your storage account, you use the create cloud blob client. Okay, now regarding blobs, you have 2 types of blob. One is blob and the other is a page blob. If you are going to go for streaming applications like pictures, videos and all those things, then you can go for blob. If you have page blobs, like a huge number of files or anything, then you can go for page blobs. Okay, so what we will be using is a blob. So once I create an instance for my storage account, then I create an instance for my client, okay, blob client, using the create blob cloud blob client, and then I create a container. Okay, now I have this important statement, container dot create if not exist. That is, you're going to create a container only if it doesn't exist. If it is already existing, then I will not create a container. So I will directly go to my demo code here. So we will see the same demo code. Okay, so this is my class file for creating a container. So I am creating a storage account instance, and then I'm referring to my image storage account connection string. Okay, so I will come to this later. So this one of the value that you will be giving is your connection string when you create an instance for the storage account, and then using the instance of the storage account you will create a blob client, and then you will create a container. Now you have to remember that I am just going for the blob container dot create if not exist. That is, only if it doesn't exist I'm going to create a container, otherwise I'm going to use the same container. So whoever is going to call this method, it is going to create a container if it doesn't exist, and then return the container to them. Or if it already exists, then it will pull that container, that what I'm referring to, and it will return that container to them. So what is going to be my container name here? It is my images. Okay, where it is going to be created under this account connection string. Now coming to the connection string, how I'm going to create a connection string. You can take the help of Visual Studio to create a connection string under your blob storage roles, web role. Okay, you have just double click there, and then you have settings. Okay, so here under settings you can add a setting. Basically when you go for the first time, you will have only this Windows, Azure, okay, plugins, diagnostics. Now if you want to add a connection string, you can go for add settings. Now I've already added a connection string. For demo purpose I will show you again. So I will just go for add settings. I will give it as my connection string, my connection string, connection demo string. Okay, and then I will choose a type as connection string, and then you can see a browse option here. Select this, and then you have to go for whether you're going to go for Windows, Azure storage emulator. Remember I told you in the beginning, if you want to test your application, you don't have to always go and place your data in your cloud storage, okay, Windows, Azure storage. Rather you can currently use the Windows, Azure storage emulator, and then once you see that it is running perfectly, then you can go for testing inside your storage account. So I can go for Windows, Azure storage emulator and click OK. Now once I do that, can you see here, use development storage equal to true. Okay, so it has created a connection string to my Windows, Azure storage account. So what will be the name of my connection string here? It will be my connection demo string. So I have to give here as my connection demo string. So it will go to this storage account using the my connection demo string, and then it will create a container called my images. So whoever is calling this method will have a container created called my images inside the storage account. So with this I stop here. So I will go to you can watch my upcoming videos. In my upcoming videos I will show you on how to access the connection string, how to access the storage account and place your images inside the container which you have created. Okay, thank you for watching this video, and if you have any comments or feedbacks, please post to my email ID or inside my blog. Thank you.